Ooh, suddenly soundtracks are here to provide you. Suddenly soundtracks will show you care. Oh, be more the soundtrack inside you with sweet understanding. Oh, with sweet understanding. With sweet understanding. Soundtracks are your friend. Hey guys, welcome to yet another episode of Suddenly Soundtracks, where we go through a musical movie, and judge a song solely based on the soundtrack that it provides. First, we will dissect the entire movie, song by song, and give our rating of each song out of 10. Then we will rank each song from worst to best, then give an overall average of our scores. In the end, my final verdict will be given, and it will either be not rockin', scratched disc, one-time listen, download the soundtrack, or rockin' for the best of the best. Right now we are in the middle of our Christmas movie marathon with what many consider to be their Christmas Carol and one of my personal favorite Christmas movies of all time, 1992's A Muppet Christmas Carol.
Ah, humbug.
He was the greediest man alive.
It's Ebenezer Scrooge.
Until the night he met someone extraordinary.
Hello.
The Muppet Christmas Carol.
I'll drink to Mr. Scrooge, even though he is odious, stingy, and badly dressed.
Humbug.
Oh, there goes Mr. Humbug. There goes Mr. Grin.
Do you think it's safe for us to be up here?
If they gave a prize for being mean, the winner would be him.
Yes, Mr. Cratchit.
If you please, Mr. Scrooge, the bookkeeping staff would like to have an extra shovel full of coal for the fire.
How would the bookkeepers like to be suddenly
Unemployed!
Heat wave! Oi! This is my island in the sun.
It's Charles Dickens' classic tale, as only the Muppets can tell it.
It's good to be heckling again.
It's good to be doing anything again.
Filled with holiday warmth
Hey, like the lamp, not the rat, like the lamp, not the rat.
and Christmas spirit.
Jacob Marley?
Oh, that's scary stuff. Should we be worried about the kids in the audience?
No, it's all right. This is culture.
This is the movie to see, to share, to cherish with someone you love.
Thank you for making me a part of this.
Walt Disney Pictures presents, from Jim Henson Productions, The Muppet Christmas Carol.
God bless us, everyone.
Whatever.
Alright guys, so we are doing the Muppets tonight, our first Muppet movie ever for this show, and I am joined by three very special guests. Let's start off with Kristen Smith. How are you doing?
Great.
Oh no. She's with Ash.
I brought my Muppet. He's very excited.
Awesome. Jen Kempe, how are you doing tonight?
I'm very excited about Muppets. It's personally my favorite iteration of the Christmas Carol, which feels weird to say, but it's got Michael Caine, so a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Totally 110%. And the biggest Muppet fan we all know, Mr. Linus Babcock. How you doing?
I'm very glad to be here, finally discussing the Muppets. Dream come true right now. Muppets all the time. But this movie might not have as much Muppets as I want it to, but, you know, Michael Caine kind of makes up for that.
It is true. This movie kind of does allow the Muppets to kind of take a back seat to the actual actors that are present on screen. The film is directed by Brian Henson. Jim Henson sadly passed away right before this movie came out, and the music is written by the great and powerful Paul Williams. You know Paul Williams as the voice of the Penguin in Batman the Animated Series. He wrote the Muppet movie. He is no stranger to the Muppets whatsoever. He's written some of the Muppets' best songs. He wrote The Rainbow Connection. And he also wrote and he also starred in Phantom of the Paradise, a cult classic that I will be covering in the future. I absolutely adore that film. So let's just dive right into it. He mentioned Michael Caine. This movie opens up and immediately we are introduced to Gonzo and Rizzo, who are acting as your muses, your narrators of the film. And they actually take lines and bits and pieces from Charles Dickens' original novel pretty literally throughout this entire thing, and I'm surprised because this is a kid's movie, and the first things that they utter out of their mouth are,
The Marleys were dead to begin with.
Oh, pardon me?
and then we are introduced to Michael Caine through a song called, and it's his character's name, Scrooge.
There goes Mr. Humbug, there goes Mr. Grim. If they gave a prize for being mean, the winner would be him.
Which is a very strong introduction song that establishes everybody's hatred and how much they revile Mr. Humbug, Mr. Scrooge. I'm going to go right over to Linus. What do you think of this opening track, Linus?
This is a great song. It definitely sets the mood of the movie for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's very catchy. It's a great instrumental, and you kind of get the feel of what the songs in the movie is going to be like. I have to say, it's probably one of the most on-the-nose songs you'll ever hear, where it's like, if he was a flavor, he would be sour. It just basically says he's bad, which there's nothing wrong with that. They perform it very well. But the point of the song is to tell you that Scrooge is bad. And this is definitely one of my favorite songs of the film, but I don't like the part where it's the little mice puppets and they're like, why doesn't he give us cheese? And it's like, why are you wasting your time giving cheese to mice? Come on, you got better things.
Jesus to the Mises, how dare
No,
you?
it's the worst part of the song.
Please, sir,
And
can I
if you
have
cut
some
that,
cheese?
It
Yeah.
might be. It's like,
How
feed
dare
the
you.
homeless. Don't worry about feeding mice cheese.
Jen, what are your thoughts on Scrooge?
Yeah, this is a great way to kick off the story. It's one of those classic Muppet chorus numbers where you get all the different voices, which is funny because it's probably 4 puppeteers in total that are doing all these different voices. But it's a lot of fun. It's almost kind of like a march because he's plodding through town and you're getting everyone's take on who Scrooge is. So it's pretty clear that he's not exactly the favorite in town. I think they have a joke in the middle of even the vegetables don't like him because they're singing too. And they have this nice little bridge though with they have a bunch of female carolers and they're saying oh maybe we're not seeing the right side of him. He's really lonely, should be pitied. And they're like, no, never mind, he's just a jerk. So yeah, it's a good way of kicking it off so you get a really good idea of who Scrooge is right off the bat, and it's a fun song.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Kristen, what do you think of this opening number, Scrooge?
I love this song. I think it's great. I think that it's fun. And when you're watching the Muppets, that's what you want. And this is not it's a dark subject matter. The thing that I love about not just this song, but the whole score is that the instrumentals in this are so good. They've got big soaring brass and just cool string parts, and this song I think has some really good instrumentals in it as well as vocals, and I think it's, and I like it.
And Ash probably loves it as well. She does bring up a good point. The instrumental music in this film is hilarious and great, and it actually fits the theme of what a Muppet score should be. This song in particular acts as a kind of motif and theme for Scrooge musically during the entire movie, because elements of this song pop up periodically throughout the rest of the film. So Kristen, while we're on you, how many Michael Caines out of 10 do you give this?
Give this 10 Michael Caines out of 10 Michael Caine.
Beautiful. Jen, how many Michael Caines out of 10 do you give Scrooge?
I gave it 8 Michael Caines.
That was beautiful. Linus, I'm going over to you, and you know exactly what I'm going to ask.
9 Michael Caines, and if it didn't have the mices, it might be higher.
For me, Scrooge gets 10 Michael Caines out of 10. I love this opening number. It is solid. The music is catchy, and I love all the puppetry in this opening number, and it's great. Then you're introduced
Dr.
to
Bunsen Honeydew
and Beaker, and they come to Scrooge's loan office, asking for some donations. Now this song that I'm going to cover is on the soundtrack, but was cut from the actual film. And it's it's regrettably obvious why they cut it. It's not that great. It's a song called Room in Your Heart.
Anybody can change Scrooge, and so can you. When you're ready to start, there's room in your heart for love, 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 love.
They're trying to egg Scrooge on to try to get some donations from him. Stuff that, although it's a cute little number, would have bogged down the pace of the film, and it's not as good of a song that the other songs in this catalog are to that extent. Kristen, what are your thoughts on Room in Your Heart?
Who thought it was a good idea to give a solo song to Honeydew and Beaker? Who? There are so many other Muppets that I want to hear songs from before I hear a song from them. Why? It sucks. Not good. I still gave it a good rating, but I don't like it.
There's a reason this was cut. Yeah, it's like Bunsen and Beaker, they're really funny, but there's so many other characters that don't get any chance to really have an impact here. So to have these two be the ones that actually have a song feels really odd. So it makes total sense that it was cut. And it's also just the message of this song is a little iffy because it's like, oh, they're talking about love and open your heart, but they're really just open your wallet. Like that's what they want. And also just, it's not telling us anything new because this is all stuff that we're going to cover for the rest of the film. So if this had been left in, it would have just kind of got a little hitting you over the head a little with the love thing. Cause I think literally Bunsen's going like love, love, love kind of thing. So yeah, this one's not so hot. I love Bunsen and Beaker. Don't love this song.
I'd love to actually see the actual shot version of it because maybe not animation, but maybe the puppetry might have added a little more to this song than what we just hear in the actual thing. Linus, what's your thoughts on Room in Your Heart?
So I was going over the soundtrack for this movie, and I'm like, this song must have been so forgettable because I don't even remember it in the movie. And I'm like, oh, it wasn't in the movie. Yeah. Giving Beaker his own song, he's not really one that you would say has musical talent in the Muppets. I don't even think Beaker was a good choice for this role. I think giving this role to Scooter would have been a lot better. Knowing his character, that role, kind of begging for money for orphans, seems more like a Scooter role to me, personally. And Beaker singing, I mean, unless he's doing like me, 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 me or something like that, it's not great. It doesn't fit in well with the tone of this movie exactly and takes you out a little. No, it's not anything horrible. Like if it comes on the Muppet playlist or something, I wouldn't turn it off, but definitely it doesn't really fit in with the other songs, and I think it was a good choice for it to be, removed from this movie.
Exactly. It bogs down the pace of the beginning part of the film when all the audience really wants to do is get to the Christmas Carol portion of the film. The beginning portion is not necessary. You don't really see these characters too often to really feel anything, but also their part in the movie already with the cut without the song establishes what they needed to any way, and I feel like the editing out the song kind of made it better for them as characters too. So the edit I completely back. And Linus, let me know, out of how many Michael Caines do you give Room in Your Heart?
I would give no, this is not going well. 6 Michael Caines.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Jen, how many Michael Caines do you give Room in Your Heart?
I gave it a pitiful 5 Michael Caines.
Kristen, how many Michael Caines do you give Room in Your Heart?
A sad 6 Michael Caines out of 10. Sorry.
It's all good. It's all good. We're all making mistakes tonight, and it's glorious.
The biggest fan.
Room in Your Heart is a piece of crap for me personally. Room in Your Heart sucks. I don't like it. I can see why it was cut, and that little sucker gets 2 Michael Caine's out of 10. No questions asked. But then you are introduced to Scrooge's assistant at the loan office, Mr. Bob Cratchit, played in this film by the great Kermit the Frog. And after he kind of gets Scrooge to give him the day off for Christmas, after Scrooge leaves the office, him and the Christmas mice that are in the actual, that work for the loan office as well, which is a departure from the book. In the book, only Bob Cratchit worked at the loan office, not these other people. But it gives Bob Cratchit some chorus, and with that you get this song, One More Sleep Till Christmas, where they're all anticipating Christmas and spending it with their families.
There's magic in the air this evening, magic in the air. The world is at her best, you know, when people love and care. The promise of excitement is one the night will keep. After all, there's only one more sleep till Christmas.
I love this song. It's such a good song. This is actually a Christmas song that I'll sing like randomly without actually having to watch the movie. And yeah, I think it's great. And again, this song has really good instrumentals. Like, I'm just a sucker for a good French horn in songs, and this has some like really nice parts. And the chorus is just awesome.
One More Sleep Till Christmas is it's a beautiful song. It's this nice, upbeat, whimsical song describing about the wonder of Christmas and how it brings everyone together. And it's magical whenever Kermit gets a chance to sing. There's just something about his voice that just kind of shoots you back to childhood. So the more singing from Kermit, the better. And this song also has a lot of opportunities for them to show off their little Muppet tricks with their showing Kermit skating and stuff. So I always enjoy it when they try to shoehorn something like that in. So Penguin skating, so that we can see, hey, we can make Muppets stand up on their own. So that's always fun.
And it makes them look less like a puppet, which is always good. Linus, what are your thoughts?
Definitely like this song a lot. It's very catchy and definitely gets you in a really good Christmas spirit with the anticipation of everything. Like you said, the scene where the song takes place is amazing. All the tricks they do with the puppets is fantastic. I don't know if this is just me, but when I listen to it, Kermit's voice doesn't sound like exactly as it kind of did. I think this was when Steve kind of first started with Kermit, sort of more in the beginning of his roles as Kermit, so his voice wasn't like completely perfect yet. It's still a very good Kermit voice, but like when you hear him a little later on, you feel this kind of perfectness to his voice. Like, that's a great Kermit voice, and not anything against this voice right here, but it's not completely there for me. But like I said, it's still very catchy. It gives you in a great like Christmas spirit and a mood, and it just gives you a very happy emotion for these people that like their job lives aren't great, but just this anticipation of Christmas makes their life so much better.
All right, so One More Sleep Till Christmas. Kristen, what do you give it?
This is a 10. Yay.
It's a 10. Jen, what do you give One More Sleep Till Christmas?
This is a 9 out of 10.
Linus, what do you give One More Sleep Till Christmas?
I guess I'm the negative one of the group. I gave it an 8, which is still a good grade, but I did give it an 8 Michael Caine.
All right.
If we're still doing that.
Yeah, we are still doing that indeed. And for One More Sleep Till Christmas myself, I'm giving it 7 Michael Caine's out of 10. It's a good song, but it is what it is. I personally find it a little bit forgettable. It's good for where it is in the movie, and I know you guys, like Kristen, listen to it every Christmas, think of Christmas when you hear it. For me, it just didn't stick with me, and I don't know why it didn't. It's hard to explain. Maybe it is because of Kermit's voice, and it just took me out of it a little bit, but it's still a solid song, nothing against that. Then, after One More Sleep Till Christmas, we get introduced to Scrooge's old partners, Marley and Marley.
We're Marley and Marley, our hearts were painted black. We should have known our evil deeds would put us both in shackles.
If you know the story of Christmas Carol, he sees him kind of in a doorknob, or he sees him in his house, and a ghost of his former partner, or in this case, partners, and in the story it's Jacob Marley, but in this story it's Stadler and Waldorf, who are amazing in this roles. And like we said, giving Dr. Honeydew and Beaker a song, that was a mistake. But somehow they gave a song to Stadler and Waldorf, and it worked out amazingly. Like, these two, you wouldn't expect to have these great musical chops, but this is a perfect song for them. Like, it's just a song about how terrible they were, and there's like lyrics about how they like to watch orphans freeze to death and stuff like that.
Oh my God.
It's a perfect villain song, and I think it's the best setup. They're my personal favorite Jacob Marleys ever on screen. Well, Jacob Marleys, I guess. You could say the word since there's just one, but anyways, this is amazing. It's so fun. This is probably one of the most catchiest songs out of them all, and the puppeteering is great. This is just an amazing performance by the two of them, and giving those two like side characters a song, and it worked brilliantly. So
I love Stadler and Waldorf to pieces, and so having these two become the split character was just a brilliant choice. It was like perfect. They didn't have to think about it. But yeah, it's simple, it's effective. There's some great puppet choreography as they kind of take their turns doing little verses and stuff. But yeah, they even get a little break in the middle where they get to kind of go into their regular heckling gig about the orphans and their frostbitten teddy bears. But yeah, it's great, and I love at the end that it's kind of fading out, and they're doing their little moan thing, and just at the very end, they're like, just yell, change! It's like, in case you didn't get it, change! It's like, that's all we want from you. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. I love this song.
It is really, really good. And I know, Kristen, you have a lot of strong feelings about Marley and Marley, and they're all positive. Let me know.
Okay, so when you think about the Muppets, right, you want something that's fun and funny and has wit and humor, and this is like that song. There aren't a lot of like funny songs in this movie. There aren't really any, which is fine. There's funny parts of songs, but this song is just kind of like a riot. Like, it's hilarious, and they do such a good job with the animation or the puppetry in here, and like the random puppets they make. Like, the chains are turned into like little puppet faces, and like random little things are coming up and singing, and like it's so stupid and lovely, and like it's just fun. It's so funny, and like that's what I want from Muppets, is like just funny songs, and like, so this one is great. I love this one. It does get stuck in your head really badly, so like I'll just be like at work tomorrow, and I'll just be like and like no one will understand what I'm humming about, which is great. It's my favorite.
Marley and Marley is a very fun song, and in Scrooge, Jacob Marley was played by Alec Guinness, and he had a song called See the Phantoms. That song, compared to this song, there's no contest. This song is fun, full of energy, full of wit. It's not morbidly decaying. It doesn't make you feel scared. It just makes you love these two guys, and I wish we saw more of them. Again, the Christmas Carol stories tend to underuse the Jacob Marley character. He's fascinating. I really want to. I would want something to delve more into his lore, and things don't really do that. Like, I would love in this Muppet movie if they went to hell, like in Scrooge, but nope. That doesn't happen, but this song is fantastic and deserves a good old 7.5 Michael Caines out of 10. Kristen, what do you give Marley and Marley?
A 9 out of 10.
Beautiful. Jen, what do you give Marley and Marley?
This was an 8. I kind of feel bad now because like I talked myself out of it, but it's an 8 still. Leave it.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. Linus, what do you give Marley and Marley out of Michael Caines?
A 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10, indeed. All right, now we are going to go into yet another cut song. So after he's encountered by the Marley brothers, he's then encountered, if you know the story of A Christmas Carol, by the Ghost of Christmas Past. And he's taken to the past, and he's shown his childhood boarding school. And you're introduced to his headmaster, played by Sam the Eagle. Now, this is not in the movie, it's only on the soundtrack. But Sam the Eagle has yet again a song that needed to be cut because this is not a good song either. Chairman of the Board.
Work for a living, love for your work. Don't think about vacations, you can overcome that quirk. Insist on being heard, a squeaky wheel can't be ignored. If you do what's right, if you prove you're bright, you'll be chairman of the board.
Oh my God, this was a waste of my time. An absolute waste of my time and means nothing to the movie. And it's just a Sam the Eagle song that should be in something else, not A Christmas Carol. You know what, Kristen? What do you think of Chairman of the Board? Yeah.
It's a song that fits his character. Yep. So if you're a Sam the Eagle fan, then you'll probably enjoy this song, but it definitely was cut with reason. Mm-hmm. It's patriotic sounding, like it sounds like a Sousa march, which is great for Sam the Eagle, but for the Muppet Christmas Carol, it sucks. It's not so great.
It doesn't fit the actual movie in the slightest.
Not in the least, no.
I could have seen this in Muppet Treasure Island, but not this.
Oof. Please don't bring down Muppet Treasure Island with this song.
Jen,
how dare you?
Jen, what are your thoughts on Chairman of the Board?
Yeah, I'm a huge Sam Eagle fan, and as Kristen said, yeah, it definitely fits his character. There's a throwaway line right before this, or maybe after, because it was cut, of him saying, like, it's the American way to be in business, and there's a fourth wall break of Gonzo coming over and going, we're supposed to be in Britain, we're supposed to be in Britain, it's okay. Yeah. The British way. So, yeah, it fits the character. I will say that I appreciated that it does there is another level to it, because there's a line where he says, like, being lazy is a curse, and we want no empty pockets, we want no empty purse. And that is, like, the outlook that Scrooge has later on, so it is kind of giving you an idea of this is how he kind of became
a little bit.
This kind of character, because the headmaster was someone he looked up to. So he saw a lot of potential in him, so it kind of, he took the ambitious morals from him and kind of ran away with it, unfortunately. So there was a reasoning there, but as much as I like Sam Eagle, yeah, this song is no good. It is no good.
And yeah, you get that, but if you're listening to it only from a soundtrack point of view, that out of context really doesn't mean much unless you're watching it with the actual movie. This by itself on a Christmas album, let's just say this is a Christmas album, makes no lick of sense, and it should be on something like Muppets 4th of July. Linus, what are your thoughts on Chairman of the Board?
Yeah, they gave another song to a unique Muppet in this movie, which it's interesting to see them give songs to Muppets that usually don't have the time to sing songs, and worked for one, didn't work for another. Doesn't really work for this one. Mm-hmm. Sam the Eagle, I think, has more of a better singing voice per se. He's better suited for a song than Honeydew, but they said it doesn't fit too well in the movie. It does set up Scrooge a little well, like Jen said. It gives him a little motivation per se. Mm-hmm. It sets up his character all right, but it's cut out of the movie. The movie's fine without it. The movie didn't need it. It's fine, fun to have on the soundtrack, but it's nothing special. Yeah. It's nothing really great.
That's kind of what docks it down for me. It's nothing special, and there's a special Muppet singing it. That doesn't make any lick of sense. And I have to give this 6 out of 10 Michael Caine's. I'm being generous with that because, yes, it is the Muppets, and the personality and spunk is there. That's all where that 6 goes to. Nothing. It's not a failure of a song. It's a song by the Muppets, and you got to give it credit for that. But very little else more. Linus, what do you give Chairman of the Board?
I'm being kind of nice here, and I'm giving it a 7. Mm-hmm. It's alright, but yeah, we don't need it. It's alright. I'll give it a 7, a C-, Yeah,
we're being generous. Jen, what do you give Chairman of the Board? Oh goodness.
I gave it 6 sad Michael Caines.
Kristen, go for it.
This is six of the saddest Michael Caines of Michael Caines.
After you're introduced to that whole stuff with his boarding school and him being alone at school, you transition to him older and him working for Mr. Fozziwig in this movie, played by the great Fozzie Bear, who is underused to the 10th degree. There's Fozzie right there. And thus introduced to his daughter Belle. This is the first time this has happened here on Suddenly Soundtracks, where so many songs have gotten cut out of the actual movie that are in sequence that should be there for the actual film itself, and they're not. The interesting thing about this song is this is on the Laserdisc and the VHS and the DVD release, but it's not on the current Blu-ray release, and it's really, really sad.
Love is gone. Love is gone. The sweetest dream that you have ever known.
When Love Is Gone, which kind of gets reprised at the end, is a song by Belle, who is Scrooge's love interest, who's basically the reason why Scrooge hates Christmas. And it's a very heartfelt. It basically tells you that Scrooge is focusing on money and not her, and she feels very, very shunned, that he weighs cash more than he weighs her. And it's very heartfelt, and it's really, really sad. And it's a very, very poetic piece that he cares more about money than her. Linus, what are your thoughts on When Love Is Gone and why it was cut?
I actually think this song being in the movie, I have seen the DVD cut. I think it works pretty well in the movie personally. I get maybe why they wanted to cut it. Kind of getting a little too emotional maybe for a kids movie, saying about how love and romance has completely disappeared, and it's getting a little depressing, but this is kind of a depressing story. So, but then again, it's a kids movie, so I understand they kind of wanted to cut it a little bit. I do think the song is pretty good. It's sad for sure. The performance as well, even like Michael Caine's not the best singer, but you do feel a little emotion when he hears this and he joins in himself, and he's looking back on the past, and it just gets your heart a little bit right there. And it's not the greatest song, but it works for the movie. It doesn't really feel like a Muppet song though.
It doesn't. It actually feels like a Scrooge song. This could have nudged right in with that Scrooge song "You ... You" from Scrooge, and it would have done the service there better than the actual other song that we were subjected to, that was like 4.5 minutes and just went on and on and on. This doesn't do that. Kristen, what are your thoughts on When Love Is Gone?
I love this song. I think the song is great. It's one of the only songs in here where it legitimately has just a very great singer on it. And that's not saying that like the Muppets aren't good singers. Like, they're playing characters. Like, they have to stay in character, so they can't just like belt out a song. And yes, Michael Caine isn't the best singer, but he's not the person singing this song. It's whoever plays Belle, and she's fantastic. I mean, she's got this really great lyrical voice that it's quiet, but then she can build it really well, and it fits with the actual like message of the song so well, because near the end it kind of like swells into this ending, and it's just really beautiful with instrumentals, and I just really love the way that they kind of made this song feel very powerful and meaningful. And yes, for a child, it's probably not the best song, but for someone who enjoys music and enjoys like the actual meaning of songs, I think this song is really interesting musically. I think they use kind of like minor key changes and stuff in here, really interesting if you care about that. But it's not like a typical song. I really appreciate what they did with this. I love it.
I love this song. I was surprised. I feel like I have seen a version of it in and then a version of it out, and like I remember watching it with the one without. I was like, I could have sworn there was a song here. So yeah, I definitely think it should have been left in, and I think it is because like for kids, yeah, this is one that you're gonna kind of get a little bored with for them. But it is one of the few songs that has like true acting moments that I really enjoyed. And it's a beautiful melody, and like the Muppets does have a history of having these really pretty ballads going way back to the very first Muppet movies. So there's some great lyrics. There's the Some Dreams Come Through, Some Fall Through. It's beautiful, and just having Michael Caine come in and towards the end and kind of join her. It's this trying to linger in the moment while his young self kind of wanders off and doesn't realize what he's losing. It's a beautiful song. It's a beautiful moment. It should have stayed in the movie. Kids can take a little bit of sappiness in between their Muppet hilarity, so I think it should have stayed in.
I mean, look at all the Disney movies that have those kind of songs in it. It's kind of weird that it would be cut like that. Okay, so Jen, I'm going to go right back to you. What do you give When Love Is Gone?
I gave it a 9 Michael Caines.
9 Michael Caines. Kristen, let me hear it.
This is also a 9 Michael Caines.
Awesome. Linus?
It's 100%, but that's not Linus.
Yep, Linus?
I gave it 8 Michael Caines.
Beautiful, and I can't do a voice to save my godforsaken life, but I am also giving it 9 Michael Caines out of 10. Next, we get into the introduction of the Ghost of Christmas Present, who is this giant red-haired Santa Claus guy that's really awesome. Really has a great design, and I wish we'd seen him more. Like he gradually like ages over time, and it's really sad. But he's a great fun-loving guy, and he sings this super catchy number. It feels like Christmas.
It is the season of the heart, a special time of caring, the ways of love made clear. And it is the season of the Spirit. The message, if we hear it, is make it last all year.
This song literally just feels like Christmas. Like it's just like it feels like a Christmas carol that you would hear on the radio. It just is so much fun, and like everyone gets so into it, and it's all like let's hold hands and sing Kumbaya. And I love this Ghost of Christmas Present. He's just he's just great. I love him. And this song, definitely just whenever I hear it, I just think of Christmas automatically. It's great.
I love this song. The puppet for the Ghost of Christmas Present, this is one of the few ones that they actually created for the movie, and he's beautiful. Like they've had the U-Man Muppets before with like Sweetums and the big blue thing and everything, but he's just the creation of him. It's just a great character. I love that the hair of the beard is like a feathers instead, so it kind of gives it this light movement to it. But it's beautiful. It's a fun, joyous, catchy song, and he's like a big bouncy hug. I love this song, and it's one of the few ones that has actual human people in it, and you get all the extras spinning round, because we actually have someone that's their size for once, so this is their only chance to get in here and sing along. So it's great. We get the return of the Mises wait for the cheeses, and we even see like there's jailbirds singing too, and they're totally happy that it's Christmas. So it's a nice encapsulation of Christmas makes everybody a nicer person, except for Scrooge at this point. So make it last all year.
Yep.
Great song, great ending.
Yep.
Love it.
It's funny you say that because this is the song I think that starts to turn him. Linus, what are your thoughts on It Feels Like Christmas?
This is a fantastic song. Like I listen to the song over the holiday season. It's the best song of the movie, in my opinion. It's so great, and just like the introduction to that character is something special. Like when a new Muppet can make such a lasting impact. And yeah, not many of the other Muppets had that much screen time, but just when you see this guy, he's so loving that even Scrooge, this bitter guy, he immediately takes to him and he makes jokes with him when he meets him. He's such a great guy. Like everyone, how do you not like him? He's just the greatest guy of all time. And this song, it just puts you in such a happy spirit. Even the township, even the mice with the cheese doesn't bother me as much in this song. It's so happy. And like you said, the deterioration of this character when he kind of grows old throughout the short time period, it just makes you love that character, and it makes you even a little bittersweet about what ends up happening to him. But you know that this is definitely the turning point for him, and this character is so jolly and the song is so jolly that it can turn anyone just so happy.
Exactly, and this is a character that I wish we saw more in the actual Muppet movies. It'd be great if the Ghost of Christmas Present actually became like a character in the Muppets. He has that kind of personality, and it's great.
I would agree.
And you never see him again. I think his puppet might have been used for Santa once or twice. But, okay, so it feels like Christmas is perfect, just perfect in every way. 10 Michael Caine's out of 10 from me.
I feel bad now. I gave it a 9.5.
That's
Michael
all good.
Caine's.
That's all
It's still
good.
very good, but it's not 100% perfect.
It's all good. Jen, do you have my sentiments?
Boom, 10 Michael Caine's. Love this song. Perfect.
There you go. See, Linus, now I like Jen more than you. How you have
You just said it was alright.
It's alright. It's okay. Kristen, what do you give It Feels Like Christmas?
10.
A 5.
Michael Caine's.
10.
No, 10. I can't show my other hand because my dog is attached to it. I'm like pulling him to put 10 on the screen. That many.
So 3 10s and a 9.5. Can't get much better than that unless Linus changes his answer, which I am.
Less Linus's.
Do you want me to change it?
Nope, nope. You need to be honest on this show.
Peer pressure.
Peer pressure, indeed, indeed, indeed. The Ghost of Christmas Present, after he sings this song to Scrooge and makes him feel happy, he shows him the Cratchits. Tiny Tim sits his family around the table, who's played by Miss Piggy and a bunch of other frogs. I don't know, and little pigs. I do not really want to know how they came into this world. It's not something that I really want to think about. But Tiny Tim, who's a little tiny frog, says a prayer to his family and begins to sing this song called
Bless us all who gather here, the loving family I hold dear. No place on earth compares with home, and every path will bring me back from where I roam.
It does a good job of telling the story of who the family is, and it does show Scrooge's kind of transformation where he finally understands, right? Because he gets that connection to Tiny Tim, and that's really what cements this change in him, is that he sees Tiny Tim and he sees that he has so little but is so thankful for everything that he does have. And you know, it's one of those things that he just sees it and it clicks and he understands, like, there's more to life than money, and there's more to be thankful for than money. But the song itself, it's just, I think when I was a kid, I skipped it a lot because I don't remember it too much. And it starts out a little boring. It gets a little better when, like, the whole family is singing together, but it's still just a little too, like, calming, I think, for this movie. It needed to, I don't know, maybe be a little more, like, uplifting. I don't know how they could have fixed it, but it's fine.
Look, nobody likes Robin, okay? No one in the history of the Muppet fans likes Robin. So if you put him in Tiny Tim, like, yeah, there's gonna be some problems. However, I think the message of the song is beautiful, and it is uplifting, and it's all about the importance of family and love, and it's a nice moment, especially when they all come in. That makes it a lot better to have Kermit and even Miss Piggy. This is her shining moment. This is all she gets in the entire movie, other than some fun lines. But there is, like, it's a nice togetherness moment of they don't have a lot, but they're just happy to be sharing a Christmas together, and that is the real thing that gets through to Scrooge and everything. So, and towards the end, like, the camera lingers on Michael Caine while they're all singing, and he has, like, genuine tears in his eyes. Like, it's a really nice moment, and if everyone could just, like, live like the Muppets songs tell us to, like, it'd be a much better place. So I think the message of the song lifts this up for me, whereas if it was just Robin singing, I'd probably dump it in the bottom. But yeah, so.
Is it the best song in the movie? No, but it does a nice purpose of introducing the family, introducing the hope that Tiny Tim had over other characters. Like you said, no one really likes Robin the Frog, but you put him in Tiny Tim, that's a character no one can really hate. So they're like, I mean, who are you going to put in this? Ralph as Tiny Tim, or like Swazi? I mean, maybe, but I mean, that's the only character that could really fit in that role with having Kermit as Bob Cratchit. So I think it has a pretty good emotion to it. The weird frog family, because I think like Peter the Frog is the name of the other sibling, and like there's the two Miss Piggy kids, and it's like, why are some of them pigs? Why are some of them frogs? I don't need to know that anatomy, but I do know that the song is alright. It's okay. That's pretty good. Serviceable.
It does its job. It does its job, but it really does nothing more, and it's arguable if it even did its job successfully to begin with. But I do acknowledge that the harmonies and when the family comes in, it does make the song a bit better than it just being Tiny Tim singing. I'm giving it a solid 5.5 Michael Caine's out of 10. This was not one of my favorites from the film. Kristen, what do you give it?
I give it a 7 because it does a good job of showing the emotion of the scene.
Jen, what do you give this?
I think this is the one time I'm going to be on the top. I gave it 8 Michael Caine's.
8?
One time.
She almost doubled my score. Linus, what do you give it?
I actually am following with Jen on this one. I also gave it an 8. It's alright. It's serviceable. It's pretty good. It's got good emotion to it.
Damn it, I wanted to be the only one for once.
After Bless Us All, there's literally like a 20-minute song dead zone, where after that, this is the song dead zone, ladies and gentlemen. You know, I'm gonna call these places no man's land, because there's no songs whatsoever in this section, not until the end. So here he's introduced to the Ghost of Christmas Future, and if you remember from our Scrooge review again, when he goes into the future, he realizes, well, kind of absentmindedly, that he's dead and people are celebrating his death. But instead of getting "thank you very much," which kind of laments that, we don't get a song. We don't get a song. We just get people being happy that he's dead, and him going to the cemetery and seeing his tombstone. This is a huge wake-up call for Scrooge, and then he wakes up from the dream like that, and he's now immediately, after It Feels Like Christmas, seeing Bob Cratchit and seeing his tombstone, has become a changed man through a song called Thankful Heart.
With a thankful heart, with an endless joy, with a growing family, every girl and boy will be nephew and niece to me. Nephew and niece to me. Will bring love, hope, and peace to me. Love, hope, and peace to me. Yes, and every night will end, and every day will start with a grateful prayer and a thankful heart.
All right. I think everyone mostly agrees that the Ghost of Christmas Future section, in this movie, is pretty bland. Not much happens. You kind of just see he's dead. But we see it, and having the emotion that he does, it's such a change. And he wakes up, and he buys the big turkey and everything. And is it the greatest song performance? No, but it's so catchy. It's got such a nice, happy tone to it. It's so nice. Like, Michael Caine, he doesn't have the best singing chops, but he's very serviceable, and he does a very good job in this role which he's given. And he's not given so much to do, but it's very happy, and it's a huge change, because you see in Scrooge how everyone's hating on stuff like this, but he's kind of doing a role reversal. He goes to Honeydew and he donates to the orphanage or whatever, and he just becomes such a nicer person in the song, and you believe it just because of these lyrics of the song that are so happy and upbeat for it.
I really like this song. I love that it kind of is kicked off because he has the donation for Bunsen and Beaker gives him a scarf as like a token of their thanks and everything, and that's like the first, it's a touching little moment, because he's like, oh, I don't receive presents, so I don't usually get to thank people, so it kind of sends him off on this thankful spree and everything. And this is just one of those examples of what I love about the Muppets, because it's the way the songs are written. They're usually very simple, very catchy, very melodic, and you don't have to be a world-class singer to make it work. Like, you can just, as long as you're genuine and meaning what you're saying, it doesn't matter how you say it. So yeah, Michael Caine, not world-class singer, but he's having fun with the song, and it's a nice little choral number as we get to see everyone else that we've gone through. And yeah, it's upbeat, it's triumphant with the horns and everything, so it's a nice little cap off of his final change.
Yeah, I love this song too. I think it's great. It's a great way to cap off this film because you do see like the character growth and the whole thing. And yes, Michael Caine isn't the best singer. He doesn't need to be. So this is the difference between this movie and Scrooge. Is Scrooge was a more serious film. So when we pointed out that someone wasn't a great singer, it's a serious film, and so you kind of have to be. And this is a Muppet movie. It's just fun. And so as long as the performance has that joy and fun in it, it doesn't matter as much that they're not the best singer. And Michael Caine just performs very well in this song. And even when you're listening to it without seeing any visuals, it's still you still pick that up. You still pick up that he's smiling and just having fun. And that's really impressive to do in a vocal. And yeah, I think this is some really good lyrics as well in here. And there's like a part of it that it's like, if you want to see the measure of a man, you simply have to count his friends. And there's a lot of like really nice lyrics. And I think it just encapsulates the whole story and the growth of the character. And and I love seeing like all the little like random Muppets, like the little bunny is back. And he's adorable, and he gets his little tiny Good King Wenceslas song at the beginning, and it's so cute, and he looks so cold, and you just want to give him a hug. And now he's back, and he's happy. It's a good song.
He's cute, he's adorable. And you bring up a good point that Michael Caine's vocals, unlike Albert Finney, who was actually, as you said, in a more serious film, lend themselves really well to this song just because his personality just exudes Muppets. All right, Kristen, what do you give Thankful Heart?
I give this one an 8.5 because Michael Caine isn't the best singer. If he was better, then I would have given it higher, but it's still a great song.
Cool. Jen, what do you give Thankful Heart?
I gave Thankful Heart a 7 Michael Caine's, and I just want to point out that Bean Bunny, while being super cute, is the most hated puppet in the Muppet Company, and they love to put him in violent situations because they just hate how cute he is. He is strictly for the children.
I love him so much.
Linus, what do you give Thankful Heart?
I give it an 8.5. It was alright.
I see what you did there. Indeed. And I give that sucker 8 Michael Caine's out of 10. It's really, really solid. And then we head right into the finale, where Scrooge is sitting at a table with the Cratchits, and he sings a reprise of When Love Is Gone, but it's kind of When Love Is Found.
The love we found, the love we found, we carry with us, so we're never quite alone. The love we found, the love we found.
It's a complete opposite of this song that for some versions of this movie got completely cut, and this reprise kind of has very little significance. But when you pair it with When Love Is Gone, and then it goes right into Feels Like Christmas, a reprise, this finale is so heart. It's so heartwarming.
We're sitting on the street on a fire. It's going home and getting warm. Merry Christmas! It's true whenever you find love, it feels like Christmas. Yes, it does!
Yeah, when you're watching the movie, I mean, it's fine that it's not in there because it's like a nice little duet with him and Tiny Tim at the beginning, and then it turns into like a big kind of piece for the whole cast. And it's just cool to see everyone kind of in there. But when you actually bring in the song from the soundtrack, it's that much better because it shows the full change of scope from who he is or who he was, when it was gone and now it's found. And I think it's just really nice. And then it pairs with the Christmas song. It feels like Christmas. And it's just like having like the whole cast sing that song is really cool. It's like it's a great way to end the song or end the whole movie because you get like the whole scope of the character and then you end it with like the Christmassy song.
These songs actually work pretty well together. When it feels like Christmas is such a great happy song that it's the perfect song to put in the finale of the film, and I like how it's a mirror of the one When Love Is Gone, even though that's kind of cut. Having him have like a different perspective, it shows just the change overall that happened with him, because when love is gone, now love is found, and he learns. It kind of shows all the things he learned. Like, he's reprising the song that he learned from the Ghost of Christmas Present, and he's changing upon the song that he heard again, or the soundtrack that you hear again when he's with the Ghost of Christmas Past. So it's a perfect ending to the film. It's a great finale. It's kind of a big finale. Everyone's together. It's this great happy piece that you see that he cares about people, and this journey truly did change him, and you can tell that with this song for sure.
I really like this song. It was a great way to kind of phase out towards the ending here. It has just a great message at the end. The love we found, we carry with us, so we're never quite alone. It's a beautiful moment, and it's a good song on its own. It's definitely enhanced with When Love Is Gone before to really bring everything full circle. But yeah, it's a nice way of closing it out. It's a beautiful little song, and when we transition into It Feels Like Christmas for the credits, it's a nice little earwig to have in your head as you're leaving the theater. And it's nice to have the Ghost of Christmas Present, who was kind of a standout character here because he was new. He was something that you weren't familiar with. So to have him kind of, he's backed more by choral in this version, but he's kind of like wishing you goodbye. It's like, oh, remember what you learned here today and everything. So it's a nice little message of keep these values in your mind as you go out towards Christmas. So it's a great way to end the film.
Indeed, and it just makes you wonder how they made the final cut of the film work without that song in it. I personally do not think the cut of the film works without that song that was cut for this to be reprised the way it is. Jen, what do you give this finale out of 10?
This was an 8 Michael Caine's out of 10.
Beautiful. Linus, what do you give out of 10 Michael Caine's?
Final impression, all right? I'll give this 9 Michael Caine's. Out of 10 Michael Caine's.
Kristen, go for it.
I give this a 9 Michael of the Caines out of 10 Michael Caine's.
This is beautiful for me. I love this finale so much. When you pair it to the actual original cut with When Love Is Gone, it just gets more and more perfect for me. 9.5 Michael Caine's out of 10 for me. Great, 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 great. But the soundtrack is not over. No, 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 no. During the credits and the last track on this album, the soundtrack version is When Love Is Gone. Even in the cut version, this Love Is Gone version is still in the credits by Martina McBride.
Love is gone. When love is gone, the sweetest dream that we have ever known.
So there was this trend in the 90s of having this reprise during the credits from a pop singer, or in this case, a country artist, just to kind of give you a little earwig for people to go, oh, I know that person. And I'm not a fan of that trend. And so this is the same case of, she sounds great, she's a great singer, however, it's overproduced and it completely loses the emotional impact of the song within the scene sung by the actual characters. So personally, not a fan.
Yeah, it's a good version of the song, and they like tried to jazz it up a bit. I'm kind of with Jen on not loving when they reprise a song with someone famous just to do it. They still do it now. It's a very Disney thing, and I'm never as much of a fan of the reprised version. And like, I guess I was a little bit nicer to it the first time I listened to it because I guess I don't really listen through the credits of Muppet movies because I don't remember this being a thing. So when I first listened to it, I'm like, oh, Martina McBride, she's good. She can sing well. And so I gave it a pretty decent rating, and then I listened to it again, and I was like, not so great. It's fine. it just doesn't add anything new. They try and make it a little more poppy, and it just kind of doesn't work. But it's still like they don't make it sound bad. It just doesn't have the same impact as the original.
Well, it's a well performed song, but I don't know if this is a song I would have chose to put in the credits personally. We just have Love Is Found, a great Feels Like Christmas, and they go back to Love Is Gone, which I get it. Maybe this is the song you can take more of a poppy flair to it, and I'm with them. I don't like these pop stars taking the songs over because it kind of feels like, hey, maybe the person who's singing it is not that well of a known or something, but I think they did a better job personally than she did. It's a good version of the song. You get to hear it fully in the movie, which is nice, but kind of, I don't know if the movie ends with such an uplifting tone, taking it back to like the When Love Is Gone, and that version is not as depressing as it is in the film, but the song still isn't really upbeat per se or Christmas spirity, so it doesn't do much for me, but it's all right. It's serviceable.
It's a weird choice of a song for her to do. Out of everything in the soundtrack, they chose that one, and it's kind of an odd choice. And you guys are right; they did this a lot in the '90s. They did it with Michael Bolton with "Go the Distance." They did it with Christina Aguilera with "Reflection." They did it with Bette Midler, and she did "God Help the Outcasts" off of Hunchback. All inferior songs to their movie counterparts, and I just feel like it's in that trend that it is what it is. I was generous, though. It is a song I still enjoy listening to. I gave it 8 Michael Caines out of 10. Linus, what did you give it?
I gave it a 7.5 Michael Caines out of 10. Got to use that impression while I can, I guess.
Kristen, what did you give it?
I originally had it up at an 8, but after listening to it again, it gets 7 Michael Caines out of 10 Michael Caine.
7 Michael Caines out of 10. Indeed, indeed, indeed. Jen, out of 10 Michael Caines, what do you give When Love Is Gone, the Martina McBride version?
For bringing up new to the table and being kind of repetitive, just 6 Michael Caines.
So that does it for our actual analysis of the film. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we get into that part of Suddenly Soundtracks where we rank each song from worst to best. This is where it gets a little bit crazy with all of us. So, Jen, I'm going to start with you.
So, for my rankings for Muppet Christmas Carol, at the very bottom, I have Room in Your Heart with 5. I have When Love Is Gone, the reprise done by Martina McBride with 6. Above that, I have Chairman of the Board, also 6. It's just, it's not very good. Right above that, I have Thankful Heart with 7. It's a fine song. Above that, Bless Us All, number 8, with 8. Above that, When Love Is Found / It Feels Like Christmas, also with 8. I have a lot of 8s. Above that, Marley and Marley with a total of 8. And right above that, I have Scrooge, just a great song all in one. That is another 8. Above that, I have When Love Is Gone with 9. And right above that, One More Sleep Till Christmas, Hooray for Kermit, another 9. And the perfect 10 is at the top, It Feels Like Christmas. Just a great song.
Amazing, Jen, amazing. Kristen, give me your ranking.
Okay, so my ranking goes as thus. Room in Your Heart, because it sucks. Chairman of the Board, because it sucks. Bless Us All, because it's just fine. When Love Is Gone, reprise, it's just fine. Then next I have Thankful Heart. And When Love Is Gone, my next one is When Love Is Found / the reprise of the It Feels Like Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got Marley and Marley, Their Hearts Are Painted Black. One More Sleep Till Christmas. Scrooge is at number 2, and number 1 is It Feels Like Christmas.
It feels like Christmas indeed. Linus, your rankings, bro.
I keep going back and forth, changing a couple of these. The top tier is back and forth for me. This might not be exactly acute to my ratings I did, but this is more personal favorites, I guess, more so than quality of the song. So at the bottom of this barrel, I have Honeydew's breakout hit, Room in Your Heart. Then we got Sam the Eagle's breakout hit, Chris, chairman of the board. Then I got Bless Us All, Tiny Tim taking the foreground, which I think it's a pretty serviceable song. Then I have One More Sleep to Christmas, followed by Love Is Gone, which again is a very good song, but might be not fit so very well. Then we got Thankful Heart, which a great song sung by Michael Caine with some cheery spirit. And the top four are great songs, all in my opinion. The 4 through 2 could change at any time, but I'm going to go. The next one is going to be the finale, which is When Love Is Found / Feels Like Christmas Reprise, which is a great song, but like I said, we've heard these before. It doesn't add very much, but it is a fantastic end to the film. Then I'm going to have Scrooge, which is a fantastic opening to the film. Fantastic song. Little on the nose, but it's great. And next up, I have Marley and Marley, which is such a fun song, such a Muppet-themed song. You kind of know, oh yeah, this is Muppets, this is fun, kind of holiday cheer, great exposition, but not feeling forced or not feeling as on the nose. And my favorite song in this entire movie, which is fantastic song, probably all of ours, It Feels Like Christmas, which fantastic characters, so good, so enjoyable, and it truly makes me feel like Christmas.
Indeed. And I'm going to go with my ranking, which is at the bottom of the heap, Room in Your Heart. Then I have Chairman of the Board, Bless Us All, One More Sleep Till Christmas, then Marley and Marley, Martina McBride's version of When Love Is Gone, then Thankful Heart, then When Love Is Gone, the actual song itself, then When Love Is Found, the finale with It Feels Like Christmas, then Scrooge, and then It Feels Like Christmas like everybody else. So overall, out of a possible 110 points, Kristen gave 91.5, equating to 83%. Myself, I gave 82.5 points, equating to 75%. Jen gave 84 points even, equating to 76%. And Linus gave 89.5 points, equating to 81%. When you add up all of our points and times 110 by 4, you get 347.5 out of a possible 440, which equates to 79%, which further equates to 7.9 Michael Caine's out of 10 for the entire soundtrack in total.
For Muppet Christmas Carol, we recommend you download the soundtrack.
Alright guys, that does it for our show tonight. I would like to thank my 3 guests, Linus, Jen, and Kristen. Kristen, where can the good people find you online, girl?
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Stardust, Smith_K10, the number, not the word. You can also find me on my personal YouTube channel at The Film Smith, and also on Take 3 hosting the live watch-alongs. And you can find my dog on all of my social media accounts as well, because all I do now is post pictures of him because he's really cute.
Linus, where can the good people find you online?
Well, you can find me on Twitter. I have 2 accounts, the Linus Babcock and Frank's Lunchables. I'll respond more on the second one because the first one's more personal. Then you can find me at Linus Babcock and other places. You can find me on Movie Battleground. I'm a host on there, and you could find me on the Movie Trivia Schmodown Facebook page adminning. And thank you for having me on, Chris. I love talking Muppets any time of day, any holiday, any Muppet film. Maybe not Muppets in space, but you know. There's lots to discuss there, I guess.
Good thing there's no music in that one. Jen, where can the good people find you online?
What do you got against Muppets in Space? Anyway, you can find me, Jen Kemp, on Twitter and Stardust at JK Meme Queen, and on Facebook, particularly in the Worldwide Movie Games network of shows that are there. I'll be in there kicking ass, and here on Take 3. So yeah.
Beautiful, and I'm Chris Clark. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at ChrisClark8788. Those numbers mean nothing, or on YouTube at No Man's Land Entertainment. And on weekends, family game night, either Friday or Saturday, whatever we decide to do, whatever time we decide to do, it's always a disaster. So follow Take 3 on Twitter at Take 3 Trivia. Take care and keep rocking.